I'm now bringing Taylor Trotloff up on stage. She is going to present the Denver Industrial Opportunity Zone project, Point Central, offered by StarPoint Properties. So here comes Taylor. Now, Taylor, there you are. How are you doing?
Great. How are you, Jimmy? Nice to see you.
Very good. Great to see you again, as always, Taylor. We're running a few minutes behind schedule, in case you haven't noticed, but I'm going to give you the full 10-minute allotment that you're due, and then we'll save a little bit of time for some Q&A. So if you have questions for Taylor, please do use the Q&A tool in your Zoom toolbar. But Taylor, without further ado, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, we'll be able to make up some time. My presentation will be sweet and to the point. So to get started, my name is Taylor Trotloff, and I help lead capital markets for StarPoint Properties. I primarily work with our high net worth investors. So to give you an overview of this presentation, I'm going to start off by giving a background of StarPoint Properties and who we are as a company. And then afterwards, I'm going to discuss our Opportunity Zone investment offering. Before we begin, I need to read this disclosure. This presentation is for discussion purposes only and does not constitute and should not be interpreted as either a recommendation or advice, including legal, tax, or accounting advice. This presentation includes forward-looking statements that represent opinions, estimates, and forecasts, which may or may not be realized. All recipients must perform their own independent investigation and assessment of any offering or information contained. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. StarPoint Properties was founded 28 years ago, and we are based out of Beverly Hills, California. We have about 50 full-time professionals here in our corporate office, and then we have about another 50 people out on the field in property management. Since inception, we have completed over 150 acquisitions, and we have about $1 billion in assets under management. This is split between our multifamily and our commercial properties, and commercial includes office, industrial, and retail. Our longest investor has been with us for over 20 years, and our reinvestment rate is over 90%. Since 1995, StarPoint has delivered an average annual net to investor return of 24.6%. This is a little bit more than 2 times the average annual return of the S&P 500 and the MSCI REIT Index over the same time period. This speaks to our long-term track record and to our dedication in delivering asymmetrical returns for our investors. This is a snapshot of some of our investment team members. Paul Danishrad is our founder and CEO. I consider him to be a bold visionary leader, and he built StarPoint from the ground up into what it is today. Sandy Schmidt and Ken Bernard lead our development and construction departments, respectively. First, I will get started by talking about our general Opportunity Zone program, and then afterwards, I will discuss our current offering. With all of our Opportunity Zone projects, we target a net to investor IRR of a 14%, and on a taxable equivalent basis, this is about an 18% IRR over a 10-year period. We consider our investments prime and prime because we've identified these 4 key attributes that we believe are essential for a prime real estate investment. First, we look at prime major metros, and for that, we look for supply chain hubs, we look at macroeconomic data, demographic trends, what regions are driving population growth, and we typically focus on Texas and West, so Colorado and Texas, and then all the states west of this as well. With prime submarkets, we want to be in the best neighborhood on the best street. So for industrial in particular, we will look for proximity to freeways, railroads, and airports, because tenants want to be able to move goods, around within the metro region. And we also will look at proximity to workforce housing. For all asset classes, especially multifamily, we will look at proximity to major employers, and we'll look at where, jobs are and the demographics of the area. And also we'll look at, the walkability of a site and the schools nearby. We typically focus on industrial and multifamily. We have invested across all asset classes, but there are tremendous secular tailwinds with industrial and multifamily in particular. And so we believe that these will outperform over the next decade. And with prime design, we design our assets with the 21st century tenant in mind, all leading to a prime investment opportunity. The investment I will discuss with you now is fully owned by StarPoint, and it is more than shovel ready. We have actually already began our horizontal construction. So I'm excited to share Point Central with you. Point Central is a $36.7 million industrial project in Denver. We already closed our construction financing. We closed our construction loan in late May 2023, And this is a huge, win and something I want to highlight because there are many projects that may not come to fruition in today's market. It is challenging for some sponsors to get construction loans closed. So wanted to call that part out. We have already raised about 11.5 million of equity. We have under $1 million of equity left to raise. This will close by August 15th. So wanted to also call that out. This is a first come, first serve opportunity. We are targeting a net to investor IRR of a 14.3%, and we are targeting a 3x multiple. We are also underwriting a cash out refinance to occur post stabilization, which should occur in late 2025. And that will help our investors be able to pay off their tax bill that will come due by late 2026, for that initial capital gain. Point Central will be a 157,000 square foot industrial project in Denver. It will be comprised of 2 adjacent buildings, each about 80,000 square feet, with a 190-foot truck yard in the center. This is a rare, unique opportunity to invest in an industrial asset right next to the urban core of a thriving city. Usually in most cities, you don't have land that's zoned opportunity zone and zone industrial this close to the downtown urban core. This site is within a 10-minute drive north of downtown Denver and Union Station, and that is huge for this asset. We also like this site because it is adjacent to all regional interstate highways. In this photograph, we show you how it is bounded by the I-25, the I-270, and the I-76. This will help us attract a best-in-class tenant, and this is key so that way our tenant can move their goods and logistics, throughout the Metro Denver area. We have a strong conviction in the Denver submarket. Denver is ranked as the second best place to live by US News. Colorado is the fastest growing state in the US per the US Census. And Denver is also the fastest growing city in America for millennial transplants, with a 20% growth in this demographic since 2014. And this demographic is precisely the same demographic that is most likely to shop online. And e-commerce is a major demand driver for industrial real estate. Wanted to share a quick construction update with you all. We began construction in May 2023. We have almost completed all of our horizontal construction. Grading is 80% complete, and we are getting ready to pour the concrete now. One of our building pads is certified as ready for vertical construction, and our second building pad will be certified by end of this month. Completion is estimated for June 2024. This is a summary of our terms. Our minimum investment size is $50,000. We are targeting a hold period of 10 years, as this is the requisite holding period for an opportunity zone project to reap the full benefits. We charge an annual asset management fee of 1.25% of net asset value, and we charge a development fee of 5% of hard costs. We offer an investor-friendly waterfall, which is a 10% preferred return. After that 10% IRR is hit, then there's an 80-20 split of the cash flows up to a 14% IRR, and then there's a 70-30 split thereafter. We hope that you will choose to partner with StarPoint Properties. We have over 500 investors, and I know them all on a personal basis, or at least most of them. And I want to also mention that I have prepared a full offering memorandum for Point Central. So I have a full pitch deck that dives in much greater detail than this presentation, and I'm more than happy to share that OM with you. I've included my phone number and my email address right here.
Perfect. Well, Taylor Trolloff, thanks so much for joining today. We do have a few questions. We got a few minutes to answer some of those questions. I want to give you full time. By the way, if you have any questions for Taylor or for any of our presenters, please do use the Q&A tool in your Zoom toolbar. First question is, how confident are you that you can find a tenant for that industrial property?
We are very confident in that. Actually, this is part of why we're building the site to be, 80,000 square feet across, 2 buildings, or it's about 74,000 and 82,000. But these are smaller size buildings compared to a lot of the industrial supply that's coming on the market and compared to some of the existing industrial supply. And so we'll be able to attract, we're targeting 3PL, which is third-party logistics tenants. This would be something an example would be if you were to order something on Amazon, and if it were to be shipped and fulfilled not by Amazon, but from a different seller, they would realistically be using one of these 3PL tenants. And that industry within the US is a $10 billion plus industry. So there's a lot of tenant demand in that space. We have a boots on the ground top leasing broker who's already looking into different LOI options. And then I also want to mention that this submarket is the top submarket for industrial within Denver. This is core central Denver submarket. It's a little bit different than the DIA airport market, which has a bit more supply concerns.
Yeah, the 3PL market is growing tremendously as logistics-based warehousing becomes more and more important. You can't build industrial fast enough, is what I understand. Bill asks, what's the minimum investment for this fund?
Our minimum investment size is $50,000.
And do you have any other opportunity zone projects that you're currently working on, or anything in that's closed previously, perhaps?
We did. We actually just closed last week. Last week we closed our multifamily opportunity zone project. So we closed the loan on that in late June, and then we completed our equity raise last week, and that was a huge win. We're all very excited about that. That's about a $78 million project, and we are building 245 units of multifamily in Phoenix. But that one is now closed.
Okay, great question just came in from Nirav. Wants to know, is StarPoint on the Schwab platform, or how do investors typically access StarPoint Properties and their fund offerings?
Typically, investors will, I don't think we are on the Schwab platform, but typically investors will come straight to us. And usually it actually benefits the investor the most to go straight to the developer, because then you're not being assessed additional fees. Other platforms may charge additional fees to an investor. So if you can go straight to a developer or find a developer you trust, that is typically going to be the most lucrative.
Yeah, Nirav, great question there. The vast majority of these funds presented today, and the vast majority of funds just overall, privately offered qualified opportunity funds, don't appear on any of those types of broker or brokerage platforms. Most investors place capital directly into the fund. I think that's all the questions we have, and we have run out of time. We're starting to get a little bit back on schedule. If you're interested in StarPoint Properties, or in particular this Denver Industrial Opportunity Zone project, please do reach out to Taylor directly. She'll get you in touch with the right person on her team, and she can get over subscription docs if you're interested in making an investment. I understand this one's closing pretty soon. You're just looking for the final few investors here. Is that right, Taylor?
Correct. We have less than $1 million left to raise. We are targeting a close date of August 15th. So I wanted to make sure everyone that's watching is aware of that. And thank you so much, Jamie, for explaining about the direct investment as well.
Perfect. All right. Well, Taylor, thanks again for joining us today. And we'll see you at the next Dozy Pitch Day
Thank you,
down the
Jamie.
road, I hope. All right. Bye, Taylor.